Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Dexter New Blood Season 1, Episode 4. H is for hero. That is the name of this episode. H is also for Harrison. Not that
Yeah.
that really matters, but it is a big Harrison episode.
Yeah, it is. There was a lot that we learned about him, a lot that we probably already suspected about him.
Yeah.
But before we get too further into this, we just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrated. We haven't been doing videos for the past couple days because we've been celebrating
Yeah.
and, making crafts and having turkey. We have a bunch of pictures up over on our Instagram, Matt and Just TV. So if you want to check out some of the fun we had, you can check out over there. We made advent calendars
Yeah.
for like 2 days in a row, which is really fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of really, really great time and food, everything you could want. So also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our weekly Dexter New Blood deep dives. And there is obviously a lot to deep dive into here.
This episode did a deep dive into sort of the Easter eggs of Dexter by bringing up Deb and the putting out a campfire with her face, which is, a really iconic line that she said so many, years and years and years ago now, obviously, but it was nice to sort of have this little bit of remembrance of Deb and that moment between Dexter and Harrison talking about Deb, talking about some of her lines, some of the things she
Yeah.
said. It was really nostalgic. It was really nice.
I don't know a firm answer to this, but I'm just going to I'm going to personally believe that the recitation of "I'd rather put out a campfire with my face" is a suggestion that Michael C. Hall brought to the table because years ago, like I don't know, this was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, Michael did an AMA on Reddit, and I remember one of the questions somebody asking him being, "What was your favorite Deb line?" And that is the one he specifically brought up as his favorite, and Dexter mentions this is one of his favorites. So I don't know. I want to sort of connect those two. I also remember somebody asked him what was the thing most people asked him about or said something to him about on the street, and he responded by saying the finale sucked, which shows that he
Wow.
has a good sense of humor. He knew that it was awful.
Yeah, he did.
No, this episode, I really am enjoying a lot of what they are bringing to the table right now. And I think one of the big reasons why is like in getting in to Harrison, I
Mhm.
don't think it's a shock to anyone, as you mentioned, that Harrison has sort of his own dark passenger, but I kind of like that they connected it as much to Trinity as they did Dexter. So it went a little bit off the very, very predictable road.
Yeah, I mean, we saw near the end of the episode, Dexter found a straight razor that was hidden in a flashlight that Harrison has. So, obviously, with what happened to Harrison's mom and with him being in the room and all these, connections, we heard him listening to that podcast, which we will get into. I'm already rolling my eyes at this,
Yeah.
going over what happened to his mom and the Trinity killer and sort of how does that affect somebody? Does it automatically basically mean what the podcaster said, that the kid is messed up forever and there's no getting around that? It does seem that they are going sort of down this route, but not really. Harrison feels like a character who, like Deb says, does have empathy,
Yeah.
does feel stuff, does want to sort of root for the little guy, but then he set up the little guy to take this huge fall. He sort of, during that speech near the end, he had sort of this bigger, grand picture of everybody's a victim, but everybody's a bully as well.
Yeah, he's not one and the same to Dexter, and I think that's really really important because Dexter had his code. Dexter had Harry. He had someone who was sort of guiding and pushing him in a very particular direction. Harrison, he hasn't really had anyone. Like he's had to sort of fend for his own devices. I mean, we don't know what Hannah knew about Harrison or if she knew he had a dark passenger or like any of that. So we can't really sit here and say, okay, she trained him to be a particular way. But this is someone who clearly, like, he cared a lot about Ethan. And I think he felt really bad that people were being, awful to him. So he took it upon himself to sort of be this underdog and go to him and help him have a friend in the world. And then it all turns out really, really badly when he sees, oh, all these years of, Ethan being mistreated have led to him wanting to murder everyone. And then eventually we see Harrison, at least per Dexter's own investigation, act on that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what Harrison's motive here is.
Yeah.
Did Harrison really think that Ethan was capable of doing something like this? Was this just a fantasy that he had written out on paper? Ethan is saying that he did not attack Harrison. The blood also is saying that he did not attack Harrison.
Yeah.
So, did Ethan actually even bring this idea to Harrison at all? I mean, it all feels quite sketchy. And then you've got Dexter feeling this out and having his own theories that Harrison did this because Harrison wanted to feel what it's like. But we don't know anything about Harrison. We don't even know that Hannah really died of cancer. That could have been Harrison. Yeah. Like, we just don't know. Is this his first stabbing? Who knows?
I'm about to do what everyone on the internet seems to do, and that is make grand opinions without knowing anything. Okay, so here we go. Here's what I think is going on with Harrison. I think Dexter is wrong. I don't think it's just as simple as I want to know what it feels like, because he's had plenty of years to try to figure out what it feels like, and we don't know what was going on there. What I'm willing to sort of wager here with Harrison is I think he got enough of a whiff so that he thought that Ethan would seriously do something like this. And maybe the whiff was just the drawings that he saw. Maybe there was something more to it. I don't necessarily think Ethan got to the full stage execution of this plan, but I think Harrison, in this moment, I think because he does care about other people, he probably didn't like the idea of all these other people potentially getting hurt, so he sort of becomes his own version of pre-crime from Minority Report. It's just like, I know you're thinking about it, so I'm gonna stop you right now.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked about his speech, where we had Zach and all these other guys clapping for Harrison. Yeah, you're here, you saved us. But that Harrison stood up and said, yeah, you guys are victims, but you're also bullies. You guys did this to him for years and years and years. So you're not just complete innocents here. Let's call it all out for what it is. And that seems to be something about Harrison in general, is that he sees a bigger world picture. And with everything that's happened to him, it makes sense that he would see a bigger world picture because he's seen a very big world.
Here's where things get a little bit messy, Harrison. You decided to do what you wanted to do here, but you also left Ethan alive. And I know nobody seems to be believing him right now. And
no.
Angela, but
where's the blood splatter guy from like the last episode? Like, where is that guy here to be able to figure this out?
Yeah. And this is why, I know that it sounds like Ethan's parents have said that they're going to be moving. I don't think Ethan's going to be moving, because I think the only place Ethan's going to be moving is onto Dexter's table, because I think Dexter is going to kill him now, because this is going to be, I'm protecting my son. If people start to believe you, then we've got a major problem on our hands.
That would be so messy. I don't think Dexter's going to do that. I think Dexter's just going to let Ethan go. Ethan's whole life is just ruined.
I am here for the mess. Bring me the mess. Okay, I don't know if that's going to happen, but
Well, speaking of mess, let's talk about Angela and the decisions that she's making.
Yeah.
So Kurt has said that Matt FaceTimed him and then sat down with Angela, and Angela started asking questions about, when did this happen? What did he look like? What's going on? What did you hear from Matt again? But she didn't ask the one question she should have asked, which is, can I see your phone so I can see the timestamp that he FaceTimed you with? Where was that question? If you don't believe him that Matt did that, then you need to ask where that timestamp is. Because it's on your phone.
Yeah.
That nobody FaceTimed you.
Especially at a certain point in the questioning. It's just like, it is so unbelievably obvious. Like, I can understand her not wanting to sort of lead off with it because it can be kind of accusatory, but he's already on the defensive, like 3 or 4 questions in, and you can already see that she's there. And if you're already there and he's already feeling like you're being attacked, just go for it. Like, what do you have to lose? What is he going to do? Be like, no, you got to talk to my lawyer. Well, there's a good chance he's going to do that anyway at some point. So you might as well just get it out there and then realize, okay, something is terribly amiss with this dude.
Yeah, that's fine. Just get the paperwork in order, Angela, and just get the phone. If
Yeah.
he's not going to give it to you, then you know that there's a problem going on. Get the paperwork together,
Yeah.
get the phone. Or get Matt's phone. And Matt's like, oh, I've called Matt a whole bunch of times. He's not picking up. Okay, then, maybe get his records then and figure out if Matt made the FaceTime call. Like,
Yeah.
there's enough of that it just got like missed over. And then she's spending all this time talking to this podcaster, which I'm going to say, like, I straight up dislike this story. Like, I don't like it. I don't like the character. The character is really irritating. And I know she's probably supposed to be kind of that irritating influencer podcaster, but I'm having a really hard time watching whenever this character's on screen. It feels like it's kind of, I don't know, it's taking me out of the story because I just dislike this character and this character just doesn't fit in. Like, why would Angela invite her in to be part of this case? It's gonna end up all over online. And while online can be helpful, as we saw with Molly, where she's like, oh, my 800,000 followers found this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, but you don't need everything to be online because then you scare people away. There's a balance.
The thing, okay, Dexter writers, Clyde Phillips, I know Clyde worked on the original show, I guess, before social media and podcasting were the thing that they are now. Maybe Clyde doesn't listen to a lot of podcasts. Like, I don't know, but the thing is that I think that if they made the Molly character less irritating and made her podcast less irritating, I could probably buy into it a little bit more. But even when Harrison was just sort of listening to that little snippet, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've never heard a single podcast kind of go in the direction this one does, where you're like talking about matters of life and death. And I know people sensationalize true crime and all that, but I've never heard a true crime podcast or anything where it's like, hey guys, I've got some really cool, juicy details for you, right? It's just like...
Yeah, and she's like, oh, and he was found in a pool of her plasma. I'm like, who talks like this? It's blood. Like, let's just call it what it is. It just feels like a caricature of a podcaster. And yeah, if you're listening to podcasts on the regular, this is not the regular.
No. So, Molly, I already don't like you, Molly, and now you are already like infecting Angela with like your, because it's sort of like, Angela, you're the chief of police, and I understand Iron Lake is not a big city, but she's just like bringing in like mixing alcohol at the desk and like...
Yes, I was surprised that Angela didn't straight up, if you're going to be here, you need to put that away. Like, I can't be drinking or having you drinking in my office while I'm on duty. Get out or pack it away. Like, it felt like Angela got really run over. And for the first couple episodes, she wasn't like that. She was very much in control of herself and what she was doing, and a very good cop. And this episode felt like she just got derailed for no reason.
Yeah. Her office is turning now into Sterling Cooper, where it's like you can drink or do whatever you want. Nobody seems to care. She was just kind of like, okay, Dexter, you really shouldn't be in here. And then like he's just, I got this piece of information he just sort of pulls out of nowhere. It's just like the rules don't matter. And when you're police department, that's kind of a bad thing.
Yep. Now they have brought up Trinity in this episode. So we know that John Lithgow is going to be back.
Yeah.
But we know he's dead. So, how is he really going to be returning?
I love that they did connect Harrison to Trinity this way, because I'll be honest, I love John Lithgow. I was excited when he was announced as coming back. I mean, it's not a spoiler. It's been out there. But the thing that I kind of had in the back of my head was just like, okay, is this just obviously Dexter wanting people to watch the new show, and this is just going to be completely irrelevant cameo-ness for the sake of cameo-ness? But it actually, I could see it sort of making sense now if Dexter is like having a vision or a discussion of sorts with Trinity now that he understands the connection between Harrison and him.
I am personally wanting, and I've said this before, I'll say it again,
Yeah.
I want the connection to be with Harrison and Trinity. Now that we've seen that he's hiding this straight razor and this flashlight, he's the connection more so at this point than it is Dexter. Dexter has gone through this. He's had his bout with
Yeah.
Trinity. This is something now that Harrison is carrying forward. And if Harrison really has his own dark passenger, maybe he will also have sort of this, not consciousness, but Trinity in his
Yeah.
head where he's fighting with that as well as his dark passenger. Sort of like what we got going on with Deb, what we have
Yeah.
going on with Harry, and then Dexter fighting his dark passenger.
Speaking of Deb, I think we still. I've seen in the comments. Not everybody is a fan of the Deb stuff in the way.
I am a fan of the
Yes.
Deb. I love Deb.
I love Deb as well. I love the Deb content. I mean, I was pretty horrified at first when Dexter stabbed her, but it was also to sort of prove a point, and I had to remind myself that she's not actually alive.
No, I really like the two of them working it out,
Yeah.
working the case out together.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I do love her sort of calling out Dexter's sort of delusions of grandeur that he could be the popular sort of kid at school. And I always love Dexter's weird sort of imagination, and that just that 2-second little bit of like the party that was being thrown for him was so great.
Yeah.
Okay, we've already talked about one big bad in Trinity. Let's get into the big bad for this season in Kurt, who I think is really, really interesting because he's clearly very, very messed up. I still think he's trying to just shove away the Matt stuff because he doesn't want anybody to get too close to him.
Yeah, I think he needs the investigation to close down so that he's able to continue on what he's doing. We saw him bring back another person who's on the run, and he brought him back to this weird cabin where we had already seen that front porch with the mass shooter who had the beard and we all suspected was Kurt, and it seems to be. But we saw him bring her sort of around where there was the doors where we saw the other girl run out of. So it looks like this new girl, Chloe, she gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, you endanger Chloe, and I'm sorry, there's not really.
You should have taken the job. You were offered a job, and now you're offered like a hole in the ground.
Yeah, the job. I understand. Maybe not the clientele, and I are like maybe they're not that nice, but they're way nicer than whatever you're gonna run into in this situation. And you know, I'm glad that they're sort of being like, okay, it's obviously Kurt who's doing this and operating this weird hotel of doom, and then like shooting these people, but. I think we've got all this time now to sort of better figure out or understand why. And I think this is the stuff that Dexter does really well. It kind of examines and operates the criminal mind. And I don't think someone like Kurt has sort of created his weird, I don't know, human hunting operation the way that he can't have done this overnight. He's probably done this for a long time.
Yeah, and I like that they took some time with this to show us how Kurt gets the women to trust him, where it's sort of like, yeah, he's already given her some food, he's already given her some money, she's bought a coat, she keeps coming back to him, and that's what's building the trust so that he can say, get into my car, let me take you somewhere, I have somewhere you can stay. And that it's not just there's a build up to this. It's not just a get into my car and you're, you could see that the other woman really felt comfortable in the place that she was at before she realized that the door was removed.
We've already talked a little bit about Chloe, how she's in danger. Dexter, you're in danger too, because you have this conversation with Kurt. We mentioned this last week, how sloppy Dexter is getting. And he's just talking to Kurt about this boat accident as though he knows everything that's sort of going on here. And Kurt is already, his antennae are going all over the place now.
The biggest question is, what is Dexter gonna do about Harrison? He knows that Harrison lied to him about the whole attack. He doesn't know all the details. I actually don't think anybody really knows all the details except Harrison. Like, we don't know exactly why he decided to do what he did to Ethan. We don't know if Ethan actually had thought about doing what Harrison said. We just don't know anything. And until Dexter really knows, he's just, projecting what he thinks
Yeah.
Harrison is doing. So, what is Dexter going to do about this? Is he going to ever really confront Harrison? Is he just going to keep watching him? Like, what is he going to do about this?
Here's a crazy theory, and I don't necessarily believe in this, but I think it's a fun thing to think about. We all seemingly think that, Clancy Brown's character, Kurt, that he is the big bad. What if Harrison is actually the big bad? And what if instead of like the inevitability of New Blood being that Dexter dies in the final episode, what if he kills Harrison in the final episode? And that's really dark and really, really depressing. But is there a point where Harrison gets too far out of control and Dexter thinks there's no other way to go forward?
It's possible, but I think it's going to be the opposite. I have this feeling that Harrison's just going to end up killing Dexter, and I think that Harrison also killed Hannah.
I think that is much more likely.
It just feels like what he did with Ethan was so well planned that this was not the first time. And yeah, the blood wasn't planned out that well, but he's in a small enough town that he knew that nobody was really going to dig that much deeper into it. Harrison had already laid out that everybody likes him. So the same thing that Dexter did as Jim. Everybody likes Jim, so nobody's going to look at Jim. And it's the same thing that's happening with Harrison. He's really sociable. Everybody likes him. Nobody's going to look at him. So when Ethan wakes up and it's like, no, this is what actually happened. Well, nobody likes Ethan. And Ethan has these pictures and Harrison already is so popular that it's just like, well, we want to believe Harrison.
We are now in such a fascinating place. We are only 4 episodes in. There's a lot of time for things to change and for things to go in different directions. But I do think that your idea here is probably the inevitable direction we're going in. But I think a big part of this show is how do we get there? What are the consequences? And if Harrison does try to kill Dexter, I kind of hope Dexter survives. That way we can get another season out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're probably looking to do this as more, if there is going to be another season, it'll be about Harrison and what he's doing. And I don't think that his dad will be part of it, but I don't know. I don't want to see Dexter die.
Yeah.
Not like that. If it was going to be something I had originally felt like in the original series, yeah, he's killing bad guys, but he's still killing people. I thought he was going to get caught and maybe be, put to death himself, sort of thing. I don't know that Harrison killing Dexter, of all the people that have been up against Dexter, that it's going to be Harrison. I don't know. There'd be something that's kind of not satisfying, but something that's also kind of satisfying because Harrison is close to him in a way that no one else can get close to him. It's his son. So Dexter's guard is going to be non-existent.
And that's why I think if anybody could kill him, it probably is Harrison. And I will conclude here with the very stupid joke. So if Harrison does kill Dexter and they decide to do more of this, is the next season going to be called Dexter Book 2? Like, just think about that, everybody. Okay, all right.
By the way, we are covering Power Book 2 for anyone else out there that is watching that. We have our new review up here at the YouTube. Good segue.
Thank you. Okay, what did you...
Succession tonight.
Succession tonight. All right, well, what did you guys think about Season 1, Episode 4 of Dexter New Blood? Where do you think this is going? Give us your theories, your thoughts. Hit that like button. Thank you guys so much. We will see you here next time.